was a big surprise.
My name is Kelsey. I am 18 years old. I go to the Phelan High School.
Autism is a pervasive developmental disorder that affects normal brain development of young children. The cause for this disability has been unknown for decades, but more recently, researchers have found that there could be genetic risks and environmental factors that contribute to early brain development. 1 in every 88 children born in the United States has autism, 1 in 54 boys, and 1 in 252 girls. A diagnosis is usually formed within the first 3 years of age, and signs and symptoms of autism appear between the ages of 2 and 3.
The pediatrician thought she just had a delay in speech. She didn't show a lot of the typical repetitive behaviors that you normally see. And I think also my pediatrician didn't have a lot of experience. She maybe had a handful of kids that had autism. And we're talking 1994. I knew no one with autism. I knew no one that knew anyone with autism. And my reference to autism was the movie Rain Man. So, you know, my head was like, oh my God, she's going to be institutionalized and she's not going to have a life and she's not even going to know who I am. So it was a big surprise.
Children with autism have difficulty in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, motor coordination and attention, and repetitive behaviors. However, the difficulties don't just lie within the children, they lie within the parents who are trying to help them.
The hardest thing was communication, simply because I couldn't understand her. She couldn't tell me what she wanted, but I knew she wanted something. She would grab my hand and bring me over to the cabinet, and I would, one by one, pull something out. If she wanted it, she would take it. If she didn't want it, she'd push it aside.
Many people with autism live a routine-based lifestyle. Like most of us, we do certain things at a certain time, like eating meals or going to the gym. But if something interrupts or delays us from doing these things, we just adjust our schedules. People with autism like knowing what to expect and when to expect it, and if something interrupts that, they could suffer from anxiety, stress, or even anger, and they can't necessarily adjust like most of us normally would.
I think her whole life's a routine, because that's the only thing they really know, autistic kids, is the routine. When she was very young, things had to be done the way she knew how they would be done. You know, if you changed it, today we're going to the zoo. And if you go to the zoo and the zoo is closed, flipping out, it's crying. If she would get angry, she would take her fist and bang her head. But slowly, as the years went, if I picked her up from school and we were going to do something that we normally didn't, I would try to prepare her and just let her know. First, we're going to do this, then we're going to do that. And she's gotten a lot better, but still, she doesn't get angry anymore. She doesn't get upset anymore if the routine is broken, but she has a routine. She wakes up in the morning when she goes to school at the exact same time. She fixes her own breakfast. After her breakfast, she gets dressed. And, so it's a routine for her, but she doesn't get upset anymore if things are changed. If normally she would fix her own breakfast and set the table and whatnot. And one morning I say, oh, how about if we go out for breakfast? She's fine with it. She might be a little taken aback, like surprised, but she doesn't get upset anymore, and she'll pretty much go with the flow, which is kind of unusual. I think most autistic kids still have, as they get older, they still have to have that routine, otherwise it's like chaos.
Each autistic child is educated differently in the early stages of their schooling. Many times, autistic kids go into school not being able to talk, so they are taught some sort of means of communication. A lot of their fine motor skills are not fully developed yet, and tasks are done repetitively in order for educators to track the child's progress.
When she first started, it was very strict. She would be learning with a one-to-one, an aide or the teacher and herself, and she would do things repetitively until she would learn it. When she learned it, then they would move on to something else. They had a criteria, she had to know how to do it, whatever the particular thing was, for 3 days straight, or 90% of the time she got it correct. And this went on for many years. When she first had speech therapy, they tried many things. Sign language, they did a picture exchanged program where she would show you a picture or point to a picture of whether it was eating, drinking, and she did fine, and then she seemed to want to learn how to talk. She was trying to talk, so then we focused on that. Because without any of those things, it's a person just staring into space, and you have no idea if they're hurting, if they're hungry, if they're tired. So the communication, her learning to communicate with us was very big.
Over the years, Kelsey's communication, schoolwork, and social skills have improved tremendously.
Tell me about your family.
My family.
Who's in your family?
Mom, Dad, Emily, me. Grandpa, Nanny Pop, Aunt Sue, Aunt Dana, Melissa, Uncle Rich, Aunt Kathy, Uncle Mike, Michael, Samantha, Nicole.
What kinds of things do you do with your family?
Things to do with my family. Go out to dinner. And my mom cooks. And I watch TV.
What kind of things do you learn at school?
Reading and math. Like to do gym, art. I walk around the track, like to play kickball. I pick out leaves in art. I made a placemat.
Do you have a lot of friends at school?
Yes, I do.
Who are they?
Denise, Matt, Elaine, Tyree, Ben, Oscar, Jane Lee, Angelica.
What kind of things do you like to do with your friends?
I like to dance. I like to draw pictures. And I like to play games on the Wii.
Reading, she reads probably about a 5th grade level, but her big problem is comprehension. That's more on a 2nd grade level. So she can read, a lot of words, but she doesn't even know what she's reading. She doesn't really understand it. As far as math, she just knows basic. She knows how to use a calculator, which helps tremendously. They do a little bit of science, but it's all basic, and a lot of it she really doesn't understand.
Unfortunately, many children with autism are limited in what they can and can't do. Kelsey is lucky though. There are a lot of things that she is able to do, and there are many things that she enjoys doing.
In the past, when she was younger, she had swim lessons. She also, went to a special needs gymnastics facility. She did Taekwondo the last few years. We joined the gym recently. She's been doing yoga now for a while, which I started it to help her, to keep her calm and focused, because the focus is a big issue for a lot of, probably every autistic kid. She's a happy child, so she likes everything. But we always try to get her, just like your typical kid that does gymnastics and softball and baseball, soccer, try to get her involved in doing other things.
What kinds of things do you do when you're at home?
Vacuum, dust the furniture, and wash clothes.
What kinds of things do you do after you come home from school? What kind of places do you go to?
To the gym. I go to the gym and food shopping. Yoga. I go yoga after school.
The progress Kelsey has made over the 18 years of her life is something for her family, friends, and teachers to all be proud of. She has overcome many obstacles, and her story is certainly a happy and successful one.
Just like any typical child, it's different because not only personalities are different, but behaviors are different. I know plenty of kids that don't talk. plenty of kids that have a lot of behavioral issues, which she never really had typical behavioral issues for someone who's autistic. So her story is different because we're all different.
Although we don't know what the future holds for Kelsey, we are very hopeful that it will be a bright one. For more information on autism, autism spectrum disorder, or to donate money for the fight to help find a cure, please visit the following websites: